History doesn't ignore bad ideas. It ignores ideas that arrive too soon. This is one of them.
And history proves it.
Tonight, we're stepping into the world of ancient Greece. But forget the calm image of wise philosophers quietly sipping wine. That version never existed. Before we begin, take a second to like the video and subscribe only if you genuinely enjoy this kind of storytelling. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is for you. It's always interesting to see how far these stories travel. Now lower the lights, get comfortable, and settle in, because you're not being invited to a party. A party suggests fun, freedom, and the option to leave early without consequences. This was something else entirely. You were invited to a symposium, a word the ancient Greeks used to make a drinking night sound respectable. The invitation didn't mention wine. It talked about ideas, conversation, friendship, maybe even virtue. That was your first clue that alcohol would be central. Food wasn't included either. Dinner was handled elsewhere. The symposium existed for one purpose: to see how long serious ideas could survive once wine entered the room. You arrive pretending you're there for intellectual enrichment. Everyone does. No one calls it out because everyone is lying the same polite lie. Participation is expected. Sitting quietly looks suspicious. Silence suggests either arrogance or sobriety, and neither is welcome here. A servant removes your shoes. It feels ceremonial until you realize it's mostly to stop people from slipping later. The room is lined with couches instead of chairs. Chairs encourage posture. Posture encourages self-control. Self-control ruins the entire evening. You recline awkwardly, trying to look relaxed. This is harder than expected. The human body was not designed to debate morality while leaning sideways on one elbow. You glance around and notice everyone else pretending this is perfectly comfortable. You join the collective delusion. Your back will remember this tomorrow. The lighting is dim, not for romance, but because dim light hides judgment once judgment starts fading. The air hums with anticipation. This is the sound of people about to become very confident about things they only partly understand. You promise yourself this will be calm discussion, thoughtful drinking, reasonable conclusions. These promises last about as long as saying, "I'll only have one glass." Then the wine arrives. It's mixed with water because the Greeks were reckless but not suicidal. You nod approvingly at the ratio, fully aware you will ignore it later. The symposium has officially begun. At first, reason still exists. It won't stay long, because once the wine flows, the true purpose of the symposium reveals itself. Not the pursuit of truth, but the experiment of how confidently a person can be wrong while lying down, and you are about to take part enthusiastically. The moment you enter, you're expected to recline immediately. Standing too long suggests hesitation, and hesitation is unfashionable. Chairs are nowhere to be found by design. Structure implies limits, and limits are the enemy of whatever tonight is about to become. You commit fully to the couch. Half reclining is worse than wrong. It's embarrassing. Your arm goes numb. You ignore it. Complaining invites philosophical attack. You adjust your position. Somehow, it's worse. Circulation becomes optional. Dignity is already gone. Reclining isn't about comfort. It's about equality. When everyone is lying down, no one towers over anyone else. Power flattens. Authority becomes conversational. It also becomes much easier to spill wine without standing up to fix it. The couches form a ring along the walls, forcing eye contact. There is no hiding. Every opinion you share will be witnessed, remembered, and later repeated incorrectly but confidently. Servants move carefully between sandals and elbows. They've seen this before. They already know who will become unbearable first. You notice the subtle competition. Who looks most relaxed? Who reclines like this is their natural state? Who appears born to argue sideways? You try to match them. You fail quietly. No one comments. They're too busy preparing their own performances. In theory, reclining slows drinking. In practice, it makes refills effortless. You hold your cup carefully, promising to sip slowly. That decision lasts exactly one conversation. For now, everyone is still coherent. Voices are controlled. Laughter is measured. Opinions are polite. This is the illusion phase, the part people later remember fondly, even though it only lasts about 10 minutes. You are reclined, numb, committed. The symposium has truly begun.
Long before recipes, menus, or kitchens, humans learned one hard lesson quickly. Raw food was dangerous. Meat spoiled fast. Roots were tough on the stomach. Invisible parasites turned meals into threats. Survival demanded change, and that change arrived in the form of fire. Fire did more than warm bodies. It transformed food. Heat softened fibers, destroyed disease, and unlocked energy trapped inside plants and flesh. Cooked meat lasted longer, fed more people, and demanded less effort from the body to digest. In that sense, cooking was humanity's first true efficiency upgrade. It didn't just keep people alive, it allowed them to grow. Early cooking was simple and direct. Meat was held over flames on sharpened sticks or laid on hot stones. Roots and tubers were buried in ash to cook slowly beneath the ground. Nothing was wasted. Bones were cracked for marrow. Fat dripped into fire and smoke, flavoring everything nearby. Smoke clung to skin, hair, and clothing until it became part of daily life itself. There were no written instructions, but there was knowledge. Elders understood which plants became edible with heat and which remained deadly no matter what. Cooking was learned by watching, copying, and remembering. Fire turned bitterness into nutrition and poison into survival. Long before writing existed, memory was the cookbook. Over time, fire became organized. Hearths were built in fixed places. Stones were arranged to control airflow. Ash was cleared carefully. This wasn't accidental. Controlled fire meant consistent heat. Consistent heat meant predictable food. Predictable food created stability, and stability anchored humans to place, laying the groundwork for permanent settlements long before farming fully took hold. At first, flavor didn't matter. There was only heat, smoke, and patience. But preferences slowly emerged. Some foods tasted better roasted than boiled. Some meats improved when cooked slowly. These small observations were the ancestors of cuisine. Cooking was never gentle. Burns were common. Fires spread. Mistakes were costly. But every cooked meal quietly reshaped the human body and brain, allowing more energy, larger groups, and longer lives. Before cooking became tradition or pleasure, it was hunger cooperating with fire. As fire came under control, cooking became contained. In ancient Mesopotamia, this shift took a decisive form: clay. Pottery changed everything. Food no longer had to be scorched or charred. It could now simmer, blend, and transform over time. Mesopotamian kitchens revolved around clay pots set directly into hearths. These vessels made boiling and stewing possible, ideal for a land shaped by rivers, grain, and livestock. Barley, wheat, onions, lentils, and garlic formed daily meals. Meat was scarce, so it was stretched in broths that could feed many people at once. What makes Mesopotamian cooking remarkable is that it was recorded. Recipes were pressed into clay tablets using cuneiform script. These were not poems, they were instructions, ingredients, quantities, and steps. Cooking had become knowledge worth preserving. Their stews were complex, combining meat, herbs, fermented sauces, and fats. Milk, beer, and even blood were used as thickeners. Flavor came from balance rather than spice heat, layering salty, sour, and earthy notes in surprisingly familiar ways. Kitchens were social spaces. Families, servants, and temple workers prepared food together, feeding not only people but gods. Offerings were cooked with the same care as daily meals, reinforcing food as a bridge between the divine and the ordinary. In Egypt, cooking followed the river. The Nile dictated what could be grown, stored, and eaten. Bread formed the foundation of nearly every meal, baked from emmer wheat and barley. Grinding grain was daily labor, and sand slowly wore down teeth over a lifetime. Beer was just as essential. Thick, cloudy, and low in alcohol, it was safer than water and consumed by everyone. Made from fermented bread, it was nutrition in liquid form. Egyptian kitchens were simple but steady. Mud brick hearths, clay ovens, and slow-simmered meals. Vegetables filled the gaps meat could not. Fish from the Nile was dried or salted. Meat remained rare, reserved for festivals and the wealthy. Cooking valued balance and continuity over excess. In Greece, cooking moved outdoors. Homes were built around courtyards, and so were kitchens. Olive oil dominated everything. It was fuel, fat, flavor, and preservation combined. Bread dipped in oil was a meal. Vegetables cooked in oil were complete. Greek kitchens relied on portable clay braziers rather than fixed hearths. This suited outdoor living and communal meals. Grains were rough, vegetables abundant, fish common, meat tied closely to religious sacrifice. Cooking reflected ritual as much as nourishment. Rome took cooking in two directions. Wealthy kitchens overflowed with tools, servants, and imported ingredients. Meanwhile, most people ate on the streets. Small food shops served hot meals quickly to crowded urban populations. Rome became one of history's first street food cultures. Roman cooking was defined by sauce, especially garum, a fermented fish condiment added to nearly everything. To Roman tastes, it was essential. The empire's reach pulled ingredients from across continents, turning elite meals into performances of power and excess, while ordinary people survived on bread, beans, and watered wine. Across the ocean, Aztec cooking began not with fire alone, but with chemistry. Corn had to be transformed through nixtamalization, soaking it in alkaline water to release nutrients. Without this process, corn caused malnutrition. With it, it sustained an empire. Grinding corn into dough was exhausting daily labor. Tortillas cooked quickly on hot stone griddles, forming the foundation of every meal. Beans, squash, chilies, and herbs filled plates. Meat was rare. Chocolate was ritual. Cooking was inseparable from religion, calendar, and cosmos. In ancient China, cooking evolved toward efficiency. Fuel was precious, populations were dense, heat had to be brief and controlled. From this necessity came stir-frying, steaming, and precise cutting. Food was prepared small so it cooked quickly and ate easily. Fermentation transformed soybeans into protein-rich staples. Balance guided seasoning. Cooking was tied closely to medicine, with food chosen to warm, cool, or restore the body. Meals aimed not for spectacle, but harmony. In India, cooking embraced complexity early. Spices were chemistry, preservation, and medicine combined. Grains formed the base, lentils provided protein, ghee became essential. Vegetarian cooking flourished not as a restriction, but as innovation. Food followed ritual, purity, and balance, aligning body, belief, and environment. Across the ancient world, kitchens differed wildly, yet solved the same problem: how to turn nature into nourishment every single day. Cooking was constant labor, knowledge passed hand to hand, nothing was wasted. Bones became broth, ash became fertilizer, leftovers became survival. Ancient cooking was slow, smoky, and demanding, but it was intelligent, adaptable, and deeply human. Before modern technology, ancient cooks mastered the art of turning scarcity into sustenance, and in doing so, they built civilizations one meal at a time.
By the final decades of his life, Nikola Tesla had become something unusual. Not a forgotten man, but a remembered one who no longer belonged to the present. He moved quietly between New York hotels, most famously the Hotel New Yorker, living in smaller rooms as time went on. His income was modest, a few stipends, occasional lecture invitations, and the silent generosity of people who felt history still owed him a debt. And history did. Tesla continued to speak publicly, often around his birthday, unveiling ideas that sounded impossible to many who heard them. He described weapons powered by directed energy, machines that could transmit power without wires, and communication systems that seemed decades ahead of existing technology. Some dismissed these statements as the fantasies of an aging mind. Others sensed something more unsettling. Not madness, but timing. Ideas arriving long before the world was ready to receive them. Tesla no longer felt the need to demonstrate his work physically. His confidence had moved inward. Proof existed in calculation, not machinery. His daily routines became rigid. He walked the same paths, ate the same meals, and obeyed numerical patterns with strict discipline. These habits once sharpened his focus, now they isolated him. They formed a quiet barrier between Tesla and a world that had moved on without him. Those who visited him described a man who was courteous, articulate, and distant. He spoke as if slightly detached from the present moment, observing it rather than living inside it. Yet his awareness remained sharp. Tesla knew that technologies he imagined years earlier were finally being realized. Radio, remote control, large-scale electrical systems, all unfolding exactly as he had once described. There was no anger in this realization, no bitterness. Tesla believed that truth did not require applause. Ideas, he felt, existed independently of recognition. As his health declined, his body weakened, but his mind remained active. He continued writing, calculating, refining concepts until the end. In January 1943, Tesla died alone in his hotel room. There was no audience, no laboratory, no final experiment, only silence. That silence did not last. Within days, government officials seized his papers, driven by fear and speculation. Rumors ignited instantly, secret weapons, hidden discoveries, forces too dangerous to reveal. The reality was less dramatic and more profound. His notebooks were filled with ideas ahead of their time, many unfinished, some impractical, others simply waiting for a future capable of understanding them. Tesla left quietly, but the world he helped build never did. In death, something strange happened. The noise surrounding Tesla began to fade. The eccentricities, the myths, the exaggerated legends slowly peeled away. What remained was infrastructure. Alternating current became universal. Power plants, transformers, and transmission networks followed principles Tesla had defended when few believed him. Cities expanded vertically and outward because electricity could travel efficiently over long distances. Factories ran continuously. Homes glowed after sunset. None of this worked without Tesla's core insight. Electricity was not a trick, it was a system. One by one, technologies Tesla envisioned began to appear. Wireless communication reshaped the planet. Remote control became ordinary. Radio waves filled the air. Engineers rediscovered ideas Tesla sketched decades earlier, now achievable with modern materials and computation. Often his work was not copied, it was rediscovered. Public perception shifted. Tesla transformed from a forgotten eccentric into a misunderstood pioneer. Books reframed his life. Scientists revisited his papers. Inventors invoked his name as a symbol of creativity, unconstrained by convention. He became a cultural icon, not because he sought fame, but because his story exposed a flaw in how progress rewards its creators. Tesla never built an empire, he built foundations. Others profited from systems he made possible. What once felt tragic became legendary. Tesla came to represent a difficult truth. Progress does not always reward those who design it, but it cannot exist without them. His name entered textbooks, laboratories, and even the language of physics itself. The Tesla, a unit of magnetic flux density, permanently embedded him in scientific measurement. A life once defined by isolation became a reference point for future generations. Tesla's legacy is not a single invention, it is a way of thinking, visualizing systems before building them, trusting theory before evidence catches up, believing energy and information should move freely. The irony is sharp. Tesla dreamed of a world without wires, yet his greatest triumph flows through them, carrying alternating current across continents, powering lives he never met. He died believing the world had passed him by. In truth, the world was still catching up. Tesla's life forces an uncomfortable question. What does society do with people who see too far ahead? He was not undone by lack of intelligence or effort, but by a mismatch between vision and the institutions meant to support it. Tesla believed ideas should serve humanity before profit.
That belief shaped his decisions and cost him everything. Others patented aggressively, built corporations, and protected revenue. Tesla loosened his grip. He gave away rights, ignored contracts, and trusted usefulness to translate into support. History shows it rarely does. Yet his life is not tragedy alone. Tesla lived as he chose. He rejected compromise, not from ignorance, but conviction. He traded comfort for clarity, stability for possibility, applause for belief. Being right too early can look exactly like being wrong. That truth extends beyond Tesla. Long before maps became objects you could fold or hang on walls, they were ways of thinking. Early humans mapped not out of curiosity, but survival. Getting lost meant death. The first maps lived in memory. Landmarks, stars, coastlines, and seasons were remembered through stories, songs, and repetition. Early maps did not aim for accuracy as we understand it. They emphasized importance. Water sources grew large, sacred places sat at the center, dangerous zones loomed large. Distance mattered less than meaning. A map was not a mirror of reality, it was a tool for survival. Mapping was also power. To name a place was to claim it. To draw a boundary was to assert authority. Kings mapped land to tax it. Priests mapped the sky to interpret fate. Travelers mapped routes to return home. Every map carried bias. Ancient cultures did not separate space from time. A place changed with seasons, weather, and ritual calendars. Roads appeared and vanished. Rivers shifted. Maps were dynamic even when carved in stone. In Mesopotamia, maps emerged alongside cities and bureaucracy. Pressed into clay tablets, they recorded canals, fields, and boundaries. These were administrative tools, not art. Yet Mesopotamians also mapped the entire world as they understood it, placing their own city at the center, surrounded by cosmic waters and unknown regions beyond. These maps reflected worldview, not ignorance. Centrality meant importance, not distance. In Egypt, mapping responded to repetition. Annual Nile floods erased borders. Surveyors restored order using geometry and measurement. Egyptian maps reflected balance. South faced upward. The Nile became the spine of reality. Even the afterlife was mapped, guiding souls through eternity. Greek mapping took a philosophical turn. Thinkers asked not just where things were, but why. Space became something to calculate. The idea of a spherical Earth changed everything. Maps became arguments, incomplete, distorted, yet revolutionary. Geography became a science. Rome stripped maps of theory and turned them into tools. Roads mattered more than shape, distance more than scale. Roman maps organized movement, logistics, and power. All roads led to Rome because power did. Elsewhere, Polynesian navigators crossed oceans without written maps. Their charts lived in memory. Stars, waves, winds, birds, and time guided them. The ocean itself was read like a living map. Navigation was embodied knowledge, learned, felt, and lived. In China and India, mapping aligned humans with cosmic order. Grids reinforced hierarchy. Capitals sat near the center. Geography merged with morality, medicine, and philosophy. Maps guided behavior, not conquest. Across cultures, mapping extended beyond land into time, fate, and the heavens. Star charts regulated agriculture. Calendars mapped destiny. Cities were laid out as cosmic diagrams. To live within them was to live inside a map. Ancient maps reveal something modern ones often hide. Mapping is never neutral. It shows what a culture values most: water, order, reason, power, harmony, survival. Even today, with satellites above us, we still map selectively. We still center ourselves. We still tell stories through space.